do me a favor and subscribe, because the Cubs suck, and it's really ruining my sports life right now. Like, they're probably going to get swept by the Brewers. I'm doing this right after Chiefs and Jags. The Cubs are down 7-3, and it's only going to get worse from here. So just help me feel a little bit better about myself and subscribe. All right, let's jump into Chiefs and Jags. Outstanding Monday Night Football game. I was fully prepared to get on here, do a video, and talk about how Trevor Lawrence is really limiting this Jacksonville Jaguars team. And then the last drive happens, and they score 31 points, 24 from the offense, 7 coming off of the pick six that Patrick Mahomes threw. And there are definitely some issues with Trevor Lawrence in this Jaguars offense. Okay, he was very efficient tonight, 18 of 25, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. That has been a major issue for him. He's already thrown 5 interceptions this year. 5 interceptions in 5 games is not exactly what I want from my franchise quarterback. He's got to do a little bit better of a job of taking care of the football. He also has to do a better job of the operational stuff. Too many delayed games, too many times, Liam Cohen's having to call timeout because the play clock is about to expire. Like that has to speed up a little bit. I get it. It's a new system. He didn't really seem to have these issues when, Urban Meyer was the head coach's rookie year. He didn't have these issues when they hired Doug Peterson. So maybe there's something about the Liam Cohen system that is a little bit tougher. But one way or the other, like, he's got to figure that part of this out. Now that the negative stuff's out of the way, I have been a Trevor Lawrence defender ever since he got drafted. And I was about ready to throw in the towel because the Jacksonville Jaguars were 3-1 despite him, because he had just really struggled. Here were his numbers coming into the game tonight. He was only completing 58% of his passes. That's terrible in the modern NFL. His yards per attempt was only 6. That's not very good. 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions coming into the game tonight. And the Jacksonville Jaguars have a lot of things to really like about the team. They run the football very well. They are one of the best running teams in the NFL. You didn't get that vibe tonight because, to the Kansas City Chiefs, in their credit, they did a very good job of stopping the run. Travis Etienne, 12 carries for only 49 yards. Tutton, 4 carries for 6 yards. Trevor Lawrence, his numbers are going to make that look a little bit better. 10 carries for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns, including one of the craziest rushing touchdowns I've ever seen. So the defense from Jacksonville I really like as well. You can really tell that they're missing Trevon Walker, though. Their pass rush, like, they have guys who can get after the quarterback. Josh HInes-Allen's a guy who had 17.5 sacks 2 years ago. Eric Armstead, when he was in San Francisco, was an absolute stud. But they clearly missed Trevon Walker, a double-digit sack guy last year. And when he's out there, like, their front four can really get after you. There were some possessions tonight where the pass rush for the Jags just wasn't quite there. And if they have Trevon Walker, I think the Jags might win this game a little bit more comfortably just because they have an extra pass rusher, right? And that's obviously a really important thing when you're playing against Patrick Mahomes. So a lot to like about Jacksonville. I like the back end of their defense. What's his name? Gosh dang it. It's going to bother me now. I need to pull it up here. Devin Lloyd's a freaking stud. I love that dude, man. He's just all over the field. He had the pick six tonight. But I just feel like every time Jacksonville needs a play, he just kind of tends to be the guy who makes that play. I love their receivers. I know that Brian Thomas Jr. has had a rough start to the year. I thought he played well tonight. I love Brenton Strange at tight end. Parker Washington's been a really nice piece for them. And then Travis Hunter, a guy who is very capable of making big plays. He had the one contested catch tonight for 40 yards that ended up being pretty important. So, once again, there's a lot to like about Jacksonville. The question has been Trevor Lawrence, and he finally, in terms of his physical performance, as I said, the pre-snap stuff, needs to get a little bit better. 18 of 25 tonight, 221 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 1 interception. Didn't like the interception. As I said, he's turned it over a little bit too much for my liking. And I was ready to come on here and just kind of rip him. And then the final drive happened, and things looked terrible. And then he throws an incredible ball. He hits Brian Thomas Jr. down the sideline. All of a sudden, they're cooking. Next play, he throws a freaking dart out route to the opposite sideline. So he's on the right hash, and he throws it all the way across the field on a line, hits the dude in the chest. An incredible throw. Next thing you know, they're at the 12. And it looks like they're going to stall out. Spags dials up a blitz, as Spags does in these big spots. And Jacksonville gets a little lucky. I don't think it's a little lucky. It's probably not the right word. Kansas City ends up committing a pass interference. Ball's placed at the 1. And then Trevor Lawrence snaps the football. An offensive lineman steps on his foot. He has time to fall down, stand back up, break a tackle, and then run into the end zone for what ended up being the game-winning touchdown for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, I mean, just an incredible finish. The Jags are good. I like the defense. They forced 14 turnovers now through 5 games. That is incredible. At some point, I do think that their turnover luck is going to die down a little bit, but I do think that they have the bones necessary on defense to fall back on for when they're not forcing a ton of turnovers. They can really rush the passer. I really enjoy watching their secondary on top of it. I really like Campbell. As I said, Devin Lloyd tonight, just a freaking stud, man. So much fun watching this team play. So Jacksonville, they're good. And tomorrow, you're going to wake up, or maybe you're watching this in the morning, you're going to wake up, and you're going to turn on ESPN or Fox or whatever your sports channel of choice is. And people are going to write off the Kansas City Chiefs because they're 2-3. I'm telling you right now, do not write off the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay? And look, I'm probably the worst guy to talk about this because I'm not writing off the Chiefs until they're dead and have been buried for 4 days. That is when I will write off the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs got the ball back with 23 seconds left at around their own 20. They had all 3 timeouts. And there was a part of me that was like, the Chiefs are probably going to find a way to win this game. And until that feeling subsides, I am not going to write them off. They really struggled to run the football. I'm fully expecting them to go out and make some sort of a trade to bring in a better running back. Would love for them to call the Saints and for them to bring in Alvin Kamara. He would really kind of give them a true 3-down back, a guy who can catch out of the backfield and make guys miss and can run between the tackles and can really do it all. So it'd also just be fun to watch Alvin Kamara play for a contender again. So would love to see them make some kind of trade like that. When Rashee Rice comes back, this offense is going to be really good. Travis Kelce looks better this year than he did last year. But then you're going to have a ton of speed. Xavier Worthy can run. The second-round pick, that Thornton, the second-round pick of the Patriots, who runs like a 4.2, he can run. He's a real deep threat. Hollywood Brown's a nice, reliable receiver. Juju Smith-Schuster is older, but still, decently reliable. They just need that true number 1 receiver to show up, and that is going to be Rashee Rice. He'll be back after week 6. So once that happens, I think we're going to see this offense really kind of start rolling a little bit more, even though 28 points tonight that's a really good number. And then defensively, I still like their defense. It's not as good as it was. And that is kind of the thing that I'm going to be paying attention to as the year goes on. They paid George Karlaftis in the offseason their best edge rusher, and he just hasn't really panned out. Like, he hasn't been some stud, and usually when you pay a guy, you expect for them to be a stud. He had 3 sacks coming into tonight, but he's just kind of gotten rolling. Like, they still have a lot of players that I like, but Drew Tranquill is their second leading sack guy, and he's got 2, and he's a linebacker. Jones only has 1 sack on the year. Like, he's got to be better than that. So some of their better players are just getting a little bit older, and they need some of the younger guys to step up, right? On offense, you're kind of seeing a passing of the torch from a Travis Kelce-designed passing system to a Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. And George Karlaftis was kind of supposed to be the guy to step up as Jones got a little bit older, and that just hasn't really happened in the way that it needs to. With that being said, I still like a lot of the players on this team, even though, like I said, they are a little bit older. Trent McDuffie's still a really good corner. I like Jalen Watson. I like Brian Cook at safety. I like Drew Tranquil. I like Nick Bolton, but the defense just doesn't have the same oomph, and it's because Chris Jones just isn't what he was. So he's either got to figure it out, or George Karlaftis has to find a way to go to another level to really love this defense. But once again, I'm not writing this Chiefs team off. If they won the AFC West, I would not be surprised. The Chargers are super banged up. Denver, really good football team. But I don't think the Chiefs have played them yet. So they're going to have time to make up the games that they're down. Yeah, but the Chiefs, they're going to make the playoffs. I have no doubt about that in my mind. And do not write them off. You're going to regret it if you do. Okay, there's a reason why they've made the AFC Championship game every year that Patrick Mahomes has been their starting quarterback. Chances are they wind up there again, especially in a year where the Ravens may not make the playoffs and the Cincinnati Bengals may not make the playoffs either. And if the Chiefs get in, and they're, no disrespect, and they're playing like Daniel Jones and the Colts, I kind of like Mahomes and the Chiefs a little bit more than the Colts, even though that Colts roster right now appears to be a little bit better than this Kansas City Chiefs one. So, very impressive win by the Jags. Maybe Trevor Lawrence is kind of going to start finding a little bit of a rhythm here. And the Chiefs, I'm telling you, do not write them off yet. Do yourself a favor and subscribe. We're doing videos during the entire NFL season.